What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the tour. This is episode 5, so this is my fifth one doing this. I just want to thank anybody out there listening, giving support. Still learning how to do the sports thing, trying to get better. So thank you so much for listening. It means a lot, especially since I'm trying to kind of get this going, kind of make my way in the lane of talking about sports and that kind of stuff. But if you do like the content, definitely find me on YouTube or Instagram, the Tour Podcast. Just search it up. It should be there. I try to upload every Tuesday. And today we're recording this on Tuesday, August 26th. This is at night after all the games have been played in the NBA. So we'll go ahead and start. So today we're going to talk about the NBA, the NFL, and some soccer. There's not much Formula One news other than the next race coming up with the Belgian Grand Prix. It has been over 1 week, so we do expect to see some teams bring some new stuff to the race. So should be interesting. Usually we just check for the midfield in Formula One because in the top it's all the same. Nothing really changes back there. So Formula One, nothing much really going on there. So let's start off with the NBA. A couple of things I'll talk about. The first thing, the major news that broke this week was Boston knocked out the 76ers, and the 76ers fired coach Brett Brown, which, in my personal opinion, was kind of a reactionary move because the team just kind of flamed out. They didn't put any fight. They got swept. They got swept. Like they need major changes. I don't know what's gonna happen. They need to find players who can work with Embiid and Simmons because those guys are pretty much the studs. They're max players. They're really good. They need to find a way to get a coach who can first space the floor. So find a way to kind of get the guys to work and find a way to make the guys win, make the guys like accountable. And that's the biggest thing. Because I remember when Butler left to go to Miami, they talked about, he kind of hinted that the coaching staff wasn't really into it like that. They didn't hold anybody accountable. So it's a big deal that they needed to find somebody. And they need to figure out what to do about Josh Harris, man. The guy cannot sign a max contract and just be a nobody. He just not even show up. They need to find a way to do it, how to figure out his contract, and also Al Horford. They need to figure him out too, because those two guys cannot be paid that much money and not show up in any games at all. So they need to figure out how to offload their contracts to where they can get new talent or picks at least out of it, because those guys are just I don't know. They just don't work with Embiid and Ben Simmons. So they got a lot of things to figure out coming up this summer. um, Especially with Ben Simmons, whatever the hell's going on with his knee or back. They just didn't figure that shit out because they need him back because he runs the offense, and then figure out a way to get him and then Embiid working, and then get shooters around them. They don't need other playmakers. They don't need a Josh Harris. What they need is a shooter, and they had that before. So they need to find someone who's a three-point shooter and plays D. That's pretty much it. But enough of that. Enough about teams that are not even no longer in the playoffs. Let's start off with some of the good games that happened. My biggest thing I'm talking about is the Lakers and the Portland Trail Blazers. As Portland took game one, everyone thought that, hey, the Lakers, they've been playing kind of sloppy since the bubble started. They might not be in it, but they definitely showed out and showed like, hey, we are going to step on their throats and we're just going to whoop them back-to-back games, full blowouts. And coming up in game five, Damian Lillard is out with a knee, so they don't have any offense. CJ McCollum here and there, but he's not gonna take him past that. And even with Damian Lillard, like they were getting blown out, so I pretty much expect the Lakers gonna finish this off. It's amazing what happens like a year, because last year they won the Western Conference Final, and then now you see them all the way back to like a first round exit, and they have a lot to think about, because CJ and Dame are getting up there in age, and they need to figure out how they can have more support players to help them be able to work on the offense. Because you don't want Lillard just dropping 40 every game. You want him to be able to give assists and be able to kind of take rests, and the team still holds leads or at least cuts into the leads when the second unit starts playing. So definitely they need to figure that shit out, man. Like they need to get their act together ASAP and get more shooters because those guys are kind of getting to the point where they might not have that many chances left. The next game we could talk about is the Pacers Heat. So the Heat swept the Pacers. This is kind of expected. Pacers are just they're first round team. They're good in the regular season. They play hard, but they're not really gonna make any noise. And the Heat just has studs on the team. Like OG is good, Butler's good. They have good rookie heroes good. Robinson's good. So I see them making some noise, making a couple teams in the East kind of a little bit uncomfortable, and I expect them to not lay down and go out without a fight. The next thing we can talk about is the Bucks and the Magics. So the Bucks are playing tomorrow, which is going to be on Wednesday. Game five. Giannis just won the Defensive Player of the Year. He's going to win the MVP because he's just that good. So I expect them to just kind of run through them. Game one was just kind of like they thought they would sleepwalk through these guys. Now they're like, okay, let's put them away in the first half so that they can sleepwalk the second half. So I expect the Bucks to go back to what they were, the number one seed, number one team in the NBA. They're definitely my team to make the finals, so they're gonna make it. And Giannis, man, like if the Bucks lose Giannis, this will be bigger than LeBron James for me. They need him in that core for years and years and years to come. And they have a good shot because they have a really good team, so I don't see him leaving anyway. So good for the Bucks, man. I see them being around for a good 5, 6 years, just kind of contending for a championship. And I do see them actually winning one pretty soon. And then now we talk about the best series in the game. So we have the Rockets and the Thunder. Series tied 2-2 right now. Um, the Thunder are real, man. The Thunder are made to like play the Rockets because they both play all guards. They play small teams. Um, all their guards can handle and shoot. It just makes it so hard to guard them, and especially when the Rockets play the small ball, when they actually go even smaller, it makes it so much easier to kind of guard them and get through them. So yeah, I see this one going 7 games, and hopefully, you know, it makes it entertaining. I don't want to see blowouts. I want the games to be the same way they've been, where it's less than 5 points, which is amazing. So those are the ones I'm watching a lot. The next one I'll talk about is the Nuggets and the Jazz. So for me personally, I have the Jazz winning this one. Um, right now it's Jazz 3. The Nuggets just won the second game to like stave off elimination because Murray's playing out of his mind. Nikola Jokic is starting to pick up, and they do have bench players also who are really putting in effort. So they'll give him a fight, but the Jazz just have Mitchell, man. I don't know what to say. This guy is a legit stud. He's gonna be amazing for a long time. He'll be definitely the premier guard coming, like staying here for a while. So I see the Jazz moving on from them, um, barring any type of weird situation going on. So definitely see the Jazz making some noise in the next round. They are a first round team. I don't see them making any noise in the second round, but I do see them winning a couple games here and there. And depends who they play. And who they play just depends on if the Clippers can close the Mavs out. Because the Mavs are not going away. Like they gotta realize, like they just had a couple breaks where their big man of the Mavericks, Kristaps Porzingis, is not playing. So they're getting lucky in this round. And today's game kind of showed like the kind of luck they're going through because they pretty much just whooped the Mavericks 154 to 111. And that's mainly just due because Luka Doncic is hurt. The Unicorn's not in there, and the Clippers have their full team pretty much. Like they're only missing Patrick Beverly, but he's more of a defensive guy than offensive, and they put up all these numbers offensively, so they're not really missing him that much. But the Mavs, man, I thought the Mavs were like a couple years away, but man, the way Luka plays, he probably will be an MVP, top MVP candidate in like a year or 2 years from now, and then he will be able to kind of get a squad around him to push them past the first round and the second round because I see this guy's amazing. Like Luka coming in, second year in, even first year he was playing really, really well. But second year he's kind of mastered his kind of craft and now just kind of just fine tuning and figuring out like how the team can work around him because it is his team and he runs the show. He guy's amazing. So Luka definitely will be a problem for the league. He'll be MVP for the league pretty soon. And my only thing is, the only way they're trying to stop him is getting in his head. They're talking shit. They're talking to him like they're trying to hurt him. They're trying to mess with his ankle. They're trying to do everything they can just kind of get in his head, and it's just not working. The guy's like dropping like 40 points a game. So wow, like Luka is gonna be amazing for the future, and I'm really excited to see what they do next year, especially once they get like a full year of just practice and get to know each other with the team, because they're not gonna have that much turnover, and you have your bench players like Curry playing really well, coming along. He's starting to kind of find his groove in the NBA. Now he's becoming a scorer. He's becoming efficient. So the Mavericks, man, next year I got them making a splash in the playoffs. And yeah, that's the NBA for me, man. Like we're just waiting for the first round to finish, which should be pretty. But next week it should be done, and then we'll be able to see how the table sets and who plays who in the next coming round. So Jazz and Nuggets, definitely watch out for that one. 'Cause that might go here and there. And the Thunder and Rockets, those are the ones that kind of you never you don't know how it'll go. But I almost forgot to talk about the Raptors and the Nets. The Raptors and the Nets, like I said, Nets just playing for next year. They got eliminated first round. Surprised they even made the playoffs with what they had. But they're gonna have KD come back, Kyrie Irving come back, so they're gonna be full strength. Those guys are gonna kind of boost him up a little bit, especially in the playoffs. They're gonna make noise. I don't see them winning next year anything. I do see them still first round, second round exit, but they're definitely gonna be really good next year. So next year is also shaping up to be like an amazing playoff series, especially on the East, because the East is gonna be more competitive next year. Especially like I said, the Nets are coming up. The Bucks is gonna be there. The Pacers are gonna be there. The Heat are gonna be there. So it's definitely gonna be something they want to work on. The final thing I do want to talk about is what happened in soccer. All the major tournaments, you would say, ended. So we had the Europa League, where Sevilla shocked Inter Milan. I really thought that Inter Milan would have won, but it ended up getting decided by a Lukaku own goal, where there's not much he can do. And it was kind of weird that he was all the way back there playing defense anyway. I don't know how he found himself back there, but Sevilla ended up holding on because Inter Milan was making chances. They just weren't creating. I mean, they just weren't cashing in on the chances. So they need to figure themselves out, man. Like they're gonna have a good squad. They have Lukaku staying in there. He's staying from Manchester United, so he's gonna have a new contract. So they're going to be good next year. So I expect them to make actually the Champions League instead of the Europa League, um, just based on how good they are playing, especially in Serie A. So Inter Milan making it back, Sevilla king of the hill right now. They're Europa champions. So good for them, man, because they have a good squad. Like they have really good players. The goalie, man, I don't know his name, but the goalkeeper had the run of his life. Like he was just like saving everything. It was really good. So good job on Sevilla, man. Get the La Liga in like a trophy race. And speaking about other goalkeepers too, we move on to the Champions League and the Kings of Europe are Bayern Munich because their goalkeeper, Neuer, he he was saving everything. And not even that, PSG needs to figure out what's going on because they had multiple chances. They were able to counter better than Bayern, especially on the high press, but they just were missing like gimme chances. Mbappe had his chance, Neymar had his chance. They just could not get past him because this is a world-class goalkeeper, and it's not like PSG played bad. The game ended 1-0 on a Coleman run, and he was making those runs behind. behind the defenders, so it was putting like a 2-on-1 against the defender, and that's how he got open. So he's making those runs all the time. So he could have had 2 goals, but he ended up with one, and he needed to get that goal because it kind of cements him for the future that he's going to be in Bayern team for a while because it does show like, hey, he can make the runs, he can score, and he's still very valuable for what they need, especially the high press. He's fast, he can get back and forth. So Bayern Munich are set up for the future for a long, long time. So they have young talent, they have older talent, they have the Lewandowski, who should have won the Ballon d'Or this year if they presented it. Um, so yeah, I expect Bayern Munich to still be a juggernaut coming up. On the flip side, I don't know what's gonna go on with PSG. They do have their marquee guys staying because they played really well. I think Neymar wants to leave because he's like almost won this year. We think we run it back, and he still thinks like, yo, we can still do it. And I still do believe they can win, but they are gonna be losing some major players. Like the defender Thiago Silva, his contract's almost up, so they need to figure out like what's gonna go on with that, um, and be able to just kind of cash in on the money they have to get better players, especially like kind of in the defensive area because they need to shore up the defense and get like a really good defense going. And once they get that, I also do see them kind of making noise. Champions League next year will be really interesting. You have Real Madrid, Bayern Munich, PSG, Liverpool. Like these are like the top teams who are gonna try and make noise. Juventus will might be there, depends on the new coach and the new system, but they'll make some noise too. So it's gonna be very good. I'm looking forward to it too, man. I want sports to start as soon as possible. Hopefully things don't get shut down because of the pandemic. And yeah, man, it's just a quick recap of the stuff that happened this week. Thank you so much for listening. Um, I'm like I said, I'm trying to get better at this. Hopefully, I end up kind of figuring out a good format and a way to kind of present this stuff better and make it more entertaining other than just informative, and start coming up with some hot takes coming up soon. But yeah, man, you guys take care, and I will see you next week.